start this meeting. I'll call this meeting to order. And if everybody could stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it
stands one nation
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I would, to start off, we'll start with the meeting. Has everyone read the minutes of the January 26th meeting? Are there any comments or questions or corrections? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, motion to approve. Bob Thompson.
Second, AJ, City Gary.
So we have a motion and a second. So we'll do roll call. We'll combine roll call and the minutes into one. So I'll hand this over to Candace.
Candy is just joining. She got booted out for some reason and just joined again, so.
Yes, thank you. I don't know what happened, but I am back, so my apologies for that. I don't think my video is working, but that's okay.
Charles, you might want to repeat what you just said because she wasn't in when
If
you.
you need anything, call me.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh, God, I'm sorry.
We have the
No.
motion and the second on the minutes. So we will combine the minutes and the roll call. Candace, if you would like to do that.
I would, if I could ask you to please repeat, since I was off the meeting at the moment. What was the, who motioned and who seconded?
Bob Thompson motioned and AJ Bittner seconded the motion.
Okay, you broke up a bit. I'm sorry. Who was the motion?
Bob Thompson,
Thank
Porter
you.
County.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I will do roll call now. Lake County,
Aye.
Crown Point. And when I call your municipality, if you also could state your name, Dwayne, I do have you for Lake County. Crown Point, East Chicago, Gary.
Yes.
Okay, so
That
for
was a yes for
Gary,
Gary.
Hammond,
Dean Button's here.
thank you. Hobart,
Bob Fulton from Hobart, aye.
thank you. Lake Station, Michigan City. Oh, that's LaPorte. Portage. Valparaiso,
Mike Jabo, yes.
thank you. Whiting. Cedar Lake. Chesterton. I'm sorry, what's the last one you heard? My computer automatically muted. I'm having issues here this morning. Cedar Lake, Chesterton, Dyer, Griffith, Hebron, Highland, Lowell, Maryville.
Steve King, yes.
Munster, New Chicago, Ogden Dunes, Maryville, St. John, Michigan City Transit,
That's Porter, that's LaPorte County, Candace.
oh, okay, thank you. Southwick Community Services,
Yes. Yes.
Blossom,
Yes.
okay, thank you very much. That concludes roll call. I know that didn't go very well, so I don't know if everybody could hear what I was saying or if I got muted, but if I missed anybody, you could please let me know if I didn't call you during roll call.
That's Trader.
Candace,
Transit.
and Kansas, this is David Wright. I also vote yes from Gary Public Transit.
Okay, great. Thank you both.
Doug Cunningham, East Chicago.
Okay,
Brian Blazak, St. John.
okay.
Yeah, and I never heard Porter County mentioned. Bob Thompson, yes.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Okay, thank you all, and I'm sorry for the confusion. We seem to have a lot of disruption this morning. That concludes roll call, Charles.
How many is that?
Oh. 11,
And was that, and that was approval of the minutes,
yes.
just for clarification? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Julio from City of East Chicago, the city engineer.
From East Chicago. What is your name again?
Julio Arichabala Delgado, city engineer from East Chicago.
Okay, thank you.
Problem.
Moving on to item number 3, public comments. This is an opportunity for comments from members of the audience. The amount of time to speak will be limited to 3 minutes. Commenters must indicate their wish to comment on the sign-in sheet, which we do not have. So if there are any public comments on today's agenda, please speak up now. Okay, moving on. Moving on to number 4, the NOFA summary. As I presented it, I only have heard of one comment, and that was this morning from GPTC. Were there any other comments on the list of projects? Okay. This is just a summary of the projects, and what is highlighted in green were the projects that were approved and included in our tip. So moving on, using this form, moving on to number 5, the Highway Infrastructure Program, the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act in 2021, which incidentally was approved in 2020. A brief description, as most of you have probably already seen my PowerPoint presentation. These are federal funds. And these are 80-20 funds only. They cannot be used, these are additional federal funds, but they cannot be used for your match for another federally funded project. That seems intuitive, but it needs to be stated. They can be used in conjunction with other funds, CMAQ, TA, HSIP, or STBG. These are, in all essence, additional STBG funds. And they are also 80-20 funds. So while you can use those for an HSIP project, these cannot be turned into HSIP funds and therefore at the 90-10 rate. They can be used for any phase, PE, right-of-way, CN, and they cannot be used for any new roads. I mentioned also that these are federal funds, so that therefore all federal guidelines must be followed. Is there any questions on 5A? Okay. So getting into the meat of today's meeting, what I'd like to know is these funds have to be obligated by the end of fiscal year 2024. So any of these projects that are listed in the spreadsheet that was sent out, can any of these projects that are in 25 and 26, can they be accelerated? Is what I want to know first. Accelerated into 24 or 23. 23, I understand is really a big push. So we're probably looking at moving them into 2024. Everyone, but if you feel you can do your project in 2023, I won't stand in your way. I do want to point out that I do not want these funds to lapse. And after today, if you get a verbal notice to proceed and you cannot meet your schedule, and you say you can accelerate it from 25 into 24 to 23, and you cannot meet your schedule, you will be pushed out into 27 or 28, and you will not be given legacy status. So does everybody understand that? Okay. We're going to be looking at risk, right away, railroad, etc. And I'm not really looking I'm looking for any project that can move forward. I don't care if it's a tier 1 or tier 2. And throughout this whole process, I'm only looking at these projects that were presented at the 2020 NOFA. If you have a new project you want to present for these funds, well, you should have included it in the NOFA. We have a good selection of projects that we can choose from that NOFA, so we're going to use that NOFA. Okay. I would like to open it up.
Charles?
Yes.
Yeah, this is David Wright from Gary Public Transportation Corporation. The only project that we would like to have considered is the Grant Street and Hobart service expansion project. There is no right-of-way involved. The project does not require new vehicles that would delay the process. And honestly, it can be implemented in 2023 at the latest. We'd probably request a transfer that would allow us to put the project into a grant for fiscal years 2021 or 2022. So that project can be implemented well within and actually ahead of the timeline that you discussed.
So David, do you already have funding for this project?
It's in the tip for $8 because there was no money in the
Okay.
CMAQ program.
But I seem to recall that you had also got indicated funding through your carryovers.
No, this project can't spend carryover dollars because it's a operating expansion.
Oh, you had indicated that you were going to use carryover dollars then.
That would have required an FTA request. We had never got to that point yet because we'd have to basically see if the rules could be changed. That's the reason why we requested the project under the NOFA, because the rules don't allow that right now, just for the capital projects. So buses and everything can use carryover dollars, and that's what our spending plan recommends, but expansion operating is ineligible currently.
So how much are you looking for in each year?
Just one moment. Yeah, obviously the $8 is not appropriate. I believe we
Well,
requested.
the $8 was just to get it in the tip.
Right. Just one second. We're looking at roughly $754,000 per year on average. It's a $2.26 million federal share.
So you get $750,000 a year?
Yes, it's a 3-year operating grant.
Next.
Apologies for
Anybody
the
else?
background noise because of the baby. But yeah, that's all unless you've got some questions.
Are there any questions? Okay,
Valparaiso has a project in 26 right now, construction in 2026 for our TOD multi-use trail. And we are confident we can have a letting in 23. We would pull calendar 23. So there is some right of way, it's minimal. There's a railroad crossing, but we have a good comfort level with this particular railroad. And so we think we will be able to deliver within the time frame.
so you have one parcel and one railroad?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to accelerate their project?
Dwayne Alwerson, Lake County Highway. We submitted Lake County Bridge 97, Colorado Street over Deep River. And I know that was partially funded in the NOFA. And I think we could go to letting by December of 2024. And we would request some full funding on that project.
Questions? That project has 6 parcels on it and no railroad.
There's no railroad and 6 parcels at the most.
Okay.
I do have a question. What is the appropriate letting time frame to use these funds within the allotted time? And is there any buffer?
Fiscal year 24.
Okay.
I'd like to have all projects let in February at the latest.
February of 24?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other projects I'd like to accelerate?
Charles, this is Jake Damerel. I think Steve can speak to this as well, but the town of Maryville has Mississippi and 69th Avenue roundabout intersection project with right-of-way funds only right now. It's a legacy project. They initiated that prior to this NOFA, so design is well underway. We're confident we could go to a letting prior to February of 24 if that project were to forego the right-of-way funds and be given the construction funding in fiscal 24.
Which project was that?
That is town of Maryville, Mississippi and 69th Avenue intersection improvements. I think Steve's on the line. He can verify that if need be.
Yeah, that's correct.
That parcel has 7 parcels, or that project has 7 parcels on it and no railroad?
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any other projects that would like to move forward?
Town of Winfield has a project at 117th and Randolph Street. It's a roundabout project. We're actually going to start doing the right-of-way acquisition here later on this year. Presumably we'll have that pretty much handled. There's no other real issues with that project outside of some right-of-way that we're going to have to take care of.
When you say issues with right-of-way?
Acquisition of right-of-way.
That's an issue?
It is an outstanding thing that we have to do. We're going to be doing it. We haven't started that process yet.
Okay. So it's not an issue.
It's a task. I should say that. Maybe task is a better word, Charles.
Yes. Because we don't want issues.
No, I wouldn't be talking if there were issues.
Okay. Yeah, there are 3 parcels there.
What's the status of the NEPA for that project?
For Winfield?
Yeah.
We did.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, we had funding for that sidewalk project that goes right through that intersection. So we've been working with our environmental group to make those together.
When do we think the NEPA will be approved though? Because that needs to be complete before any right-of-way work starts, right?
Beth, this is Trisha Nugent with DLZ. The right-of-way acquisition, the town was proceeding with that prior to the project being funded. There's no DUS number on the project currently, and they've actually already approved it. The town council's approved the acquisition of that right-of-way.
So the town is proceeding with acquisition at risk?
Yes.
Yeah, we need that right away, regardless of whether or not this ever happens.
Okay. Are there any other projects?
Charles, this is Derek Wolverton with American Structure Point. I know Dean Button is on the line as well. We are currently preparing a NEPA document for Summer Street to include not only phase 1, which is currently funded in construction, but as well as what will be the second phase of construction. So that NEPA process is already underway. We are doing preliminary design. And so I believe the city of Hammond would like to request, since there is no right-of-way required on either one of those phases, to go ahead and advance to include phase 2 of the Summer Street project.
Hammond, are you looking to combine this project with The other Summer Street, the first phase Summer Street?
Yeah, if that's possible, Charles, we could combine them together.
Okay.
And, you know, save some money on overall on the project, if that helps. We submitted this project at the prior NOFA, right? Not the current year NOFA.
Correct.
Phase one and got it funded, and we agreed to phase the project, but there's always a possibility that we could reconsolidate the project and, you know, maybe save some money. I'd defer to Eric on the details.
So this project is currently in what letting? The first phase?
December 7th of 2022.
Okay. And this, you had indicated the city could easily accommodate this whole project, entire project, both phases?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other project? Okay. So a summary, we have Hammond, Summer Street, Phase 2. Right now, that's somewhere right around $3 million. I have 3.2 million or 3.3 million. There could be some cost savings in there. Lake County has a bridge for $1 million, and I'm rounding. Maryville has a project for Mississippi and 69th roundabout. That's 1.5 million. Valparaiso has the multi-use trail. That's 1.6 million. Winfield has their roundabout at 117th and Randolph at 1.2 million. And GPTC has their Grant Street Rapid Transit for $750,000 per year. They could only use 2 of those years, so we'd have to end up by funding them out of regular CMAQ funds for in 2025. Just for clarification.
Okay.
Charles, this is Dwayne Overson, Lake County Highway.
Yes.
For Bridge 97 there, Colorado over Deep River, you mentioned for Lake County, $1 million. That's for construction and construction engineering only. To include the CE, I mean the PE and right-of-way and right-of-way services and lid. I think I have that estimated at probably an additional $425,000 total. Be an additional 340,000 federal.
I'm writing down all this so I can get it. Actually, let's just do this. Okay, out of 5.3 million. If we look at are there any comments from anybody?
Quick question,
Yes.
Charles. The Gary Public Transportation Project in 2025, would they need to reapply for CMAQ funds or would those be automatic?
They would get automatic.
Thank you. Just wanted to get that clarified.
So basically what we would do is we would approve them. If we approved them, they would get approval for 23 and 24 of 1.5 million. And then we would take $750,000 out of projects that were in 25 and move them forward. So essentially that would be Lake County's parks, or excuse me, Lake County's bridge. Winfield and Maryville did not have any construction funds in 25 or 26. So just to keep that in mind.
Charles?
Yes.
Mike Jabo here on Beth's computer. 2 pieces of information we write down with these projects. I mean, that was a good question by Jeff and your answer. Could you go through the projects again? You stated the amounts. Could we talk about how much they indeed were programmed and what year they currently are in the tip so we can make our decisions?
Sure. The first project is Hammond, and I'm going alphabetically. That project is in the tip for $3.7 million in 2026. I would like to point out that if we accelerate these, I am going to adjust the awarded amount to whatever year it is. So if it's in 24, I'll adjust it down from, so this 3.7 will probably get adjusted down to 3.6, I'm guessing.
Charles, is that the total amount or is that just the federal amount?
That's the federal amount.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to give you the federal amount. Lake County's bridge is in 2025 for $836,000. Mind you, they're asking for $1.3 million federal funds because they're asking for all phases now. And they were only partially funded in 2025. Moving on, Maryville, Mississippi and 69th. They have right-of-way funding in 2024 for $100,000, and that is it. Valparaiso's multi-use trail is in 2026 at $1.9 million. Winfield construction is $1.2 million, and they were not chosen. So this is a new project. They were not even they're not even a legacy project. GPTC, our last project, is in the tip for $8. That is just to get them in the tip. So,
And they could be available as soon as 2022, you're thinking, Charles?
GPTC be 2023, right? David?
I would go in at 2023. Well, it should go on the tip as 2022, because we, it would be better to have it in the year that it's targeted as opposed to a later year, because that would require a modification, wouldn't it?
This would go in as an amendment, so.
Okay. So yeah, we're targeting 2022.
So you would like these funds in 2022?
Yeah, because we could immediately amend the grant this year to include these funds.
And you could start this project this year.
We could start it in 2022, calendar year 2022. We're doing the planning for this one right now.
Well, it is 2022 here in another month.
I'm still confident that we can do it in fiscal year 2022. It would be the latter half of it, but yeah, we did it for Broadway. We can do it for this one here.
So then they would not get any funding in 2025. They would be 22, 23, and 24. And that would be the total of the $2.2 million.
Unless it would be more prudent to go ahead and include us for 1.5 in Carissa, which would free up some CMAQ for CMAQ funding for that last year. It really depends on what the committee, how the committee thinks is the best use of funds.
Well, the CMAQ funds for 2024 are already spoken.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
So these would not be, these would be STB, these would be Carissa funds only. These would not
Okay.
be CMAQ funds.
Well, if it would please the committee, if you want to still just, do 1.5 mil from Carissa for this project, we can push it to a mid-calendar year 2022 start date, which would be fiscal year 23.
Right.
So as to not mess up or not require you to redo your math.
So looking at the $5.3 million that we have, and if we look at does anybody have any other comments? I have some, actually I have, before I say it, I just have some concerns with the right-of-way on Maryville project for these 2023 or 2024 funds. And maybe Lake County, both of them have Maryville has 7 parcels and Lake County has 6. Winfield has 3 and Valparaiso has 1. So my biggest concern is if we're looking at risk, is these parcels here for Lake County and Maryville. Now, I would be open to maybe looking at the other projects and then putting those in 25-ish or 26, however that works out.
Charles, are you talking about the other projects in 25 or 26 as a result of moving projects
Forward, yes.
forward? Yeah, because obviously this is going to free up money. Well, with the exception of Winfield, right? And some Maryville, it's going to free up some money to reappropriate to other projects, right?
Right.
Charles, kind of going with that and what Dean said, if you're concerned about right away, it's always a big unknown and all. But, we're feeling confident about our project. Of course, Beth and I are very interested in ours, but it seems that Hammond and Valparaiso probably are pretty well positioned to make the deadline. And like Dean said, that would free up $5 million to be spread upon all these other ones right here if schedule is an issue.
Yeah, that would, and actually both the projects are in 2026. Hammond and Valparaiso's are in 2026. So that would free up $5.6 million in 2026. So,
Charles, this is Dwayne Overson, Lake County Highway.
yes,
I understand your concerns about the right of way on Bridge 97 there, the Lake County Bridge project. I have the same concerns. So what you're talking about with the Hammond and Valpo projects, if they move forward, that free up more money in 25, 26?
that would free up money in 26. And I understand that Lake County was not fully funded. They were the only project that was not fully funded in this last NOFA. So I would advocate for giving Lake County their full funds for their construction of their project.
And remain in what, on what letting schedule? So would I move back to 25 or 26 then?
You are currently in 25.
Yes.
But I would definitely look to increase your funding in 25 to at least get you your full construction funds in 25.
I think we would rather we could meet that. I think we could more easily meet that schedule.
Okay.
So Charles or Dwayne, so that's just that. If I wrote my notes down right, Lake County needs 1.3 and they've got 800K right now. So it's only a $500,000 bump, or is it more than that, Dwayne?
Well, actually, it's that there's 350 million or 350,000, excuse me, for pre-construction costs for land acquisition and PE and right away. So they would like, I'm assuming Dwayne is asking for those funds in 2020, maybe using some of those Carissa funds for the design and right away.
I'm sorry, my question is, how much does Lake County need federally to fund their project?
You're correct, 1.3.
So we still have 5 million to appropriate, right? Basically, when we move the 5.7 out, we'll have 5.2 to reappropriate.
We'll have 5.6 in 2026 to appropriate.
Less the 500,000 for Dwayne. Lake County, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Charles, this is Steve King. We'd like to advance the CN for 69th, and Jay can speak on behalf of that.
Yeah, I think what's being proposed here makes sense. If the funds are freed up in 25 or 26, Maryville would certainly be ready at that point in time for construction in either of those years. So if I'm following correctly, the funding that would be freed up by advancing Hammond and Valpo would allow Maryville to be in 26, it sounds like, for construction. That would be just fine.
And do we know the CN on that cost for Maryville? The federal amount?
Yeah, the federal amount rounded is 1.6.
Well, that's in 2021 dollars. So CN for that project in 26 is just under 1.8.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if we did that, Maryville and Winfield in 2026 total would be $3.1 million. We would still have roughly another $2 million to allocate to other projects.
In 26.
Yes.
Cool.
Charles, are you including that 753 of CMAQ for year 3 of Grant Street in that calculation?
No, I've got to look at how I'm going to do that. Lake County is currently in 2025 for $836,000. If I move them to 2026, I could give them their 1.1. I could give them their 1.1 right off the bat. That would free up the $750,000 for GPTC. Dwayne, how do you feel about that? Dwayne?
I'm sorry, pardon, Charles?
Right now I have you in 2025 for $836,000. Would you be willing to move to 2026?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So if we move them to 2026, and right away and immediately I would just give you your $1.2 million for construction. And we could. So I would be able to give you your PE and right-of-way funds starting in 2022, actually.
Okay,
So we could work that out.
yes, Lake County would be agreeable to that.
Charles, this is Jake
Yes.
Damerell again, representing the town of Griffith. We're their contracted town engineers, but just got a note that they couldn't be on the call, and they would like to try to advance the this project that was funded in the TIP. It's Broad Street and Avenue H intersection improvements. It's currently in the TIP for only PE funds in 2023 and is identified as a new legacy project. Construction that, and I'm not sure which year this is, I'm sorry, would be a federal amount of about $1.7 million. This is, I guess this is an intersection safety project, so you did disqualify those at the beginning, didn't you?
Well, they could, I'm not disqualifying it, but they would lose the 90% funding. They would only get 80%.
Okay. Okay. They will, let me see here. I'll send a note. I think they'll be fine with that if they could fall into construction in 2026, if this shifting around allows that to occur. And then, again, this is Jake, Charles, and for clarification, the Winfield project, is that in the TIP, or that, did you say that was not one that had been selected yet?
That is not in the TIP currently.
Okay.
Charles, this is Doug Cunningham and Julio from East Chicago. Can we ask a question here?
Sure.
We're new. Julio's a new city engineer. We were invited. We were told to join this meeting.
Okay.
I don't want to prolong the meeting. We do have some questions since this is our first call. Is it possible we can talk to you sometime after the meeting to find out exactly what's going on? We are not aware of what projects, or even if East Chicago has a TIF project, we're trying to catch up. Rather than prolong the meeting, can we call you at a later date to kind of find out what's going on?
Sure. Actually, we are meeting next week, though.
We are.
Yeah, for the quarterly meetings. So
We're
I'd be
not
more than
aware
happy
of
to
it.
meet with you, Julio.
Yeah.
On the phone. Anytime. Actually, I probably would like to get NDOT on that call also. But,
okay.
And your NDOT project manager is going to be Tim Holmsworth. And I'm sure
Okay.
we would like to, both of us would like to introduce ourselves to you.
Okay, I'm
We are,
Doug.
like
I'm
I
the
said, we are
city
meeting next
consultant.
week.
Right. We've got like 4 or 5 conference calls back to back. I'm Doug Cunningham, the city consultant. I work with Julio, the city engineer. I'm the construction manager for the city. We would like to meet with, I got to get a hold of Julio. We are confirmed for a meeting next week. So we'll try to catch up, find out what's going on. Okay.
Okay. Do you know when that meeting is?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware at all. If you can send Julio the information, Julio will share it with me.
I did send Julio the information.
Okay.
But just for your information, it is at 9:45 on Thursday, May 6th.
Okay.
And if you want to send me an email, I'll send you an invite.
Okay.
My email address is C. Bradsky,
Okay.
Bradsky.
I have it.
Okay, send me an email and I'll send you an invite to that.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So Griffith is currently they have CPE funding in 2023. So we could look up getting Griffith in 2026. That would be let's see if I'll put them in there. Okay. Any other comments? So if I move Hammond forward and Valparaiso forward, this would be 4.8 of the 5.3. So that would leave us $500,000 in 23 and 24, which would give us not quite enough for GPTC.
All right, say that one more time, Charles.
If I move Hammond and Valparaiso's project forward, and I'm allocating $3.2 million, and I'm just doing back of the napkin math. $3.2 million for Hammond in 23, and Valparaiso, I have $1.6 million in 2024. That comes up to $4.8 million. So that leaves us $500,000 left over. And that leaves GPTC $1 million short. Because you're requesting $750,000 a year. Well, that would give you your money in 25. That doesn't help you in 23 or 24. So.
Charles, did you include the PE and right of way for Lake County in those 23, 24 years?
Oh, no, I did not. No, I did not. Thank you.
Charles, if you can get us to 700 out of Carissa, we can see what we can do about, and do we still have the 550, the 753 out of CMAC for 25?
Currently, I have you penciled in for that $750,000 in 2025.
If you can get us to 750 out of Carissa, we can include this budget in our programming for the route. If we can get in for that 753 times 2, what would that be? 1.5 mil combined out of the two.
Okay.
If we can get 753 out of Carissa and 753 out of CMAC, I might be able to work with that.
But you can use 5307 funds for that, right?
No, we can't. That's the thing.
I think you can.
No, we can't. You can't use it for expansion operating, because the operating amount coming out of 5307 is based on your current operations. That's how it's calculated literally.
Okay.
I have another small wrinkle to add in. So the Valpo Trail had 118,000 programmed for PE in 23. If that could be moved into 22, or a portion of it moved into 22, then especially if it were Carissa, that may open up some additional money in 23.
Well, if I use, yeah. I'll have to look. I think maybe I can afford that in 23 and 24, looking at the spending plan.
How early are the Carissa funds available to use?
What's that?
How early are the Carissa funds available to use?
As long as they're in the tip. So, and right now I can't do anything with the tip until 2020, till July, till our tip gets approved. So my plan today is to give everyone a verbal notice to proceed, if that's such a thing. And by that means you can go ahead and do your RFP. And then in July or September, when we do our first amendment, these projects will be put into the tip. And you could begin with those.
So our schedule right now has us notice to proceed in September of this year for our PE. So we could start using that.
So you could do your RFP before that.
Right.
So you could start the RFP now, and that's what I would like.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's using RFP for these projects, so Hammond and Valparaiso, I would, if we agree on this, I would assume that you would start
right away.
Right away, and that way, when this got into our tip, we could get the FEMA's almost instantly, and you could start, and your consultant could start working on it. Nick, how do you, Nick or Mike, how do you feel about 2026?
We could do that. That'd be okay.
Do you need PE?
Be nice to have some PE.
Okay. 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 And then Griffith. So if I'm looking at this correctly, and this is what we've discussed, Hammond would move their project, Summer Street project, to 2023. Valparaiso would move their project to 2024, right? And then Lake County would get $300,000 or $325,000 or whatever it is in 22, 23 for right-of-way and for PE and right-of-way. Then I would have GPTC in 25 for CMAQ funds. And I am going to get them funds in 23 and 24. Winfield would get their project in 2026. Griffith would get their project in 2026 also. And Maryville. Maryville would also get their project in 2026.
Charles, just for my notes, is that 23 and 24 money for GPTC, Carissa, or CMAQ?
It would be CMAQ, but I'm pretty sure you can use 5307 funds. I'm almost positive I read that you can use 5307 funds.
It's eligible for operating, but not for operating expansion.
I'm going to look into that, but I'm pretty sure I read that it's eligible for operation expansion.
And it's also 50-50 as opposed to 80-20. That's why all of our operating projects that are expansion are, that's why GPTC and Valpo look to CMAQ for that. And I've never been told that it was eligible for expansion.
But it'd be CMAQ. I put that under CMAQ.
Okay. I'll put that in my notes.
So have I gotten all the projects correct?
Yes.
Dean, I know you were following close along, so I figured I was looking for an answer from you.
I think you're doing a fine job, Charles. It's a difficult task, but I appreciate it.
And trust me, that chessboard is still spinning. So to recap, Griffith would be awarded construction funding in 2026. Hammond's project in 2026 would be accelerated to 2023. Lake County's project would be moved from 2025 to 2026 and be fully funded, as well as getting Carissa funds for PE and right-of-way in 23 and 22 to 24, somewhere in there. Maryville's project on Mississippi and 69th roundabout would get their project in 2026 at almost 1.8. Valparaiso's trail would move from 2026 to 2024. Winfield's project at 1 point would get funded for construction in 2026. And I am going to look immediately after this meeting on PE and right-of-way funding for that project for you, Nick. And then UPTC would get $750,000 in 2025, and they will get CMAQ funding in 23 and 24.
Charles, does Valparaiso, were they going to get early funds in 22 for their PE and I think right away, Beth said?
Yes, they would get early funds.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, they would get funds early.
Early funds, yeah, okay.
And I think that would use up all my Carissa funds.
Charles, did you mention Griffith again for Broad Street?
Yes, I did. They're going to get funded in 2026. And they have PE funding in 2023.
And what are those amounts again, Charles, the PE and the construction for Griffith?
For Griffith is 1.776425 in 2026 for construction. And PE is $109,620 in 2023. Those are not Carissa funds for either one of those.
Thank you.
Those are plain old regular HSIP funds, actually.
Thank you.
So if that sounds okay, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Oh, go ahead, Dwayne, you take it.
Gene motion, and then Valparaiso seconded.
Did.
Okay. So you guys can flip a coin, see who seconded. Candace?
Okay. Okay. Lake County,
Dwayne Overson, aye.
Porter County, Porter County, Crown Point, East Chicago, Gary. Gary. Hammond.
Yes, Gene Button votes yes.
Hobart. Lake Station. Valparaiso.
Mike Jabo, yes.
And Valparaiso, the transit.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, do I get a vote in this? This is George Topple. I vote yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, George. Okay. Chesterton. Dyer. Griffith. Highland. Maryville.
Steve King, yes.
Munster. New Chicago. St. John.
Brian Blazak, yes.
Great, thank you. Cherville.
Yes, Jeff Hewitt.
Okay. And we have Southlake Community Services.
Yes, Blossom Avon.
And Charles, one moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is 12.
This is David from GPTC. I wanted to be on record as a yes vote also.
Yes, sir. My apologies, David. Thank you. So that's 13.
Nick Bellar Winfield, yes.
Okay, thank you. 14, Charles. That concludes roll call.
Charles, turn on your mic.
Did not know I got muted. I will get a spreadsheet out as quickly as possible on these changes. So we will present this to the next TPC meeting for recommendation, and we will get this in the first amendment of the 2022 tip. New business. Local quarterly meetings are, sorry, this is a typo here. Local quarterly meetings are May 4th, 5th, and 6th. If anybody does not have an invite, let me know and I will get you an invite. And if there's any consultants out there who want to schedule, let me know and I'll send it to you. Is there any other new business? Okay. No other new business. Our next regularly scheduled T-Rock meeting will be July 27th at 9 a.m. And we'll see you then. Okay.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Thanks, Charles.